England in the 15th century, a land of rolling hills, ancient forests and bustling villages. But beneath this picturesque landscape, turmoil brewed, a land scarred by war. The Wars of the Roses had left deep wounds, with towns destroyed and fields turned into battlefields, the Yorks and Lancasters locked in a brutal battle for the throne. Knights clashed and families were torn apart in this relentless struggle for power. This was the era of the Wars of the Roses, where the battlefields ran red with the blood of kings. The air was thick with the cries of the fallen and the clash of steel. Amidst the chaos, a young widow named Elizabeth Woodville navigated the treacherous currents of courtly life. She was a woman of remarkable beauty and intelligence, but her path was fraught with danger. Little did she know destiny had a crown in store for her. Her journey from widowhood to queenship was one of resilience and cunning. Elizabeth was no ordinary woman. She was beautiful, intelligent, and fiercely ambitious. Her charm and wit captivated those around her, and she knew how to use her strengths to her advantage. She possessed a quiet strength, a resilience forged in the fires of loss and hardship. Her early life had been marked by personal tragedy, but she emerged stronger and more determined. While history often remembers her as a pawn in the Game of Thrones, Elizabeth was a player in her own right. She was strategic, always thinking several moves ahead, and she knew how to navigate the dangerous waters of court politics. She was a queen who defied expectations, a woman who dared to seize power in a world dominated by men. Elizabeth Woodville's story is one of ambition, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of power. She was a force to be reckoned with, a true queen in every sense of the word. Born into a noble family, the Woodvilles were not strangers to the whispers of the court. Their lineage was steeped in the traditions and expectations of the aristocracy, and from a young age Elizabeth Woodville was groomed to navigate the complex social and political landscape of medieval England. Her family, though noble, was not immune to the intrigues and power struggles that defined the era. Elizabeth's early life was steeped in the intricacies of courtly manners and political maneuvering. She learned the art of diplomacy, the subtlety of influence, and the importance of alliances. Her education was not just in the traditional sense, but also in the unspoken rules that governed the court. She was a quick learner, absorbing the lessons of her environment with a keen mind and a graceful demeanor. Tragedy struck when she was widowed at a young age. Her first husband, Sir John Grey, died in battle, leaving her to navigate the treacherous waters of widowhood. In a society where a woman's status was often tied to her husband, Elizabeth faced an uncertain future. The loss was not just personal, but also a significant blow to her social standing. Left to raise her two sons alone, she faced the daunting realities of a society that offered little solace to a woman in her position. Yet Elizabeth was determined to secure a future for her children. She managed her household with efficiency and grace, ensuring that her sons received the education and upbringing befitting their noble birth. Her resilience in the face of adversity was a testament to her strength and character. But Elizabeth was no damsel in distress. She used her position as a Lancastrian widow to secure the future of her sons. She leveraged her connections and her understanding of court politics to navigate the challenges that came her way. Her determination and strategic thinking set her apart, and she quickly became known for her ability to turn adversity into opportunity. Her beauty was renowned, but it was her intelligence and sharp wit that truly captivated those around her. Elizabeth's charm was not just skin deep. She possessed a keen intellect and a sharp tongue that made her a formidable presence in any room. Her ability to engage in meaningful conversation and her talent for reading and writing were rare qualities that set her apart from many of her contemporaries. Little did she know her path would soon intersect with the young and charismatic Yorkist king, Edward IV. Their meeting was not just a chance encounter, but a pivotal moment that would alter the course of their lives and the history of England. Edward was captivated by Elizabeth's beauty and intelligence, and their relationship quickly blossomed into a powerful alliance. Their meeting would change the course of English history. The union of Elizabeth Woodville and Edward IV was more than a romantic tale. It was a strategic alliance that brought together two powerful factions. Their marriage solidified Edward's claim to the throne and brought stability to a kingdom fraught with conflict. Elizabeth's journey from a widowed mother to a queen consort is a story of resilience, intelligence, and the enduring power of love. Their love story was the stuff of legends. Edward, a handsome and victorious king, was smitten by Elizabeth's beauty and charm. Their courtship, shrouded in secrecy, culminated in a clandestine marriage in 1464. This was no ordinary union. It was a love match that shocked the court and sent ripples of discontent throughout the kingdom. Edward's decision to marry a Lancastrian widow was unprecedented. It challenged the established order, raising eyebrows among his advisors and igniting the ire of his most powerful supporter, the Earl of Warwick, known as the Kingmaker. The secret marriage, conducted without the blessing of the court, was a testament to Edward's love for Elizabeth and his unwavering belief in their bond. With her newfound status as queen, Elizabeth wasted no time in securing positions of power for her family. She was determined to elevate the Woodville name and ensure that her relatives were well placed within the royal court. This was not just about power. It was about survival in a world where alliances could shift overnight and loyalty was a rare commodity. Elizabeth's actions were both strategic and necessary, given the volatile nature of the times. Her elevation ignited tensions within the court. The established nobility, who had long held sway over the kingdom's affairs, were not pleased with the sudden rise of the Woodvilles. They saw Elizabeth's actions as a direct challenge to their authority and influence. The court, once a place of relative stability, became a hotbed of intrigue and suspicion. The old nobility viewed the rapid rise of the Woodvilles with suspicion and resentment. They were accustomed to their privileged positions and were not willing to share power with newcomers. The Woodvilles, in their eyes, were upstarts who had no right to the influence they now wielded. This resentment simmered beneath the surface, threatening to erupt at any moment. They saw it as an affront to their lineage and a threat to their own ambitions. The established nobles believed that their bloodlines and long-standing service to the crown entitled them to their positions. The rise of the Woodvilles was not just a political maneuver, it was a personal insult to their heritage and honor. But Elizabeth was a shrewd political operator. She knew that in order to maintain her family's newfound status, she had to be both cunning and diplomatic. She carefully navigated the treacherous waters of court politics, always staying one step ahead of her rivals. Her intelligence and foresight were her greatest assets. She understood the importance of alliances and used her influence to forge new bonds of loyalty. Elizabeth reached out to other powerful families, securing their support through marriages and strategic partnerships. These alliances were crucial in bolstering her family's position and countering the hostility of the old nobility. She secured advantageous marriages for her siblings and placed her sons in prominent positions within the court. These marriages were not just about love, they were carefully calculated moves to strengthen her family's influence. By placing her sons in key roles, she ensured that the Woodville presence was felt throughout the kingdom. Her actions, while driven by a desire to protect her family, further fueled the flames of discontent among the established nobility. The old guard saw every move she made as a threat to their own power and prestige. The court was now a battleground, with factions forming and alliances shifting as everyone vied for control. The stage was set for a power struggle that would test the very fabric of the monarchy. The tensions between the Woodvilles and the old nobility were reaching a boiling point, and it was only a matter of time before open conflict erupted. The future of the kingdom hung in the balance as both sides prepared for the inevitable clash. The Wars of the Roses, a brutal and bloody conflict, cast a long shadow over Elizabeth's reign. Her marriage to Edward had briefly quieted the storm, but the rivalry between the Yorks and Lancasters ran deep. When Edward's reign faced challenges from Lancastrian forces, Elizabeth found herself caught in the crossfire. Through it all, Elizabeth remained a steadfast presence by Edward's side. She was his confidant, his advisor, and his rock. Her strength and resilience were tested time and again as the kingdom was plunged into turmoil. She endured imprisonment, the loss of her lands, and the constant threat of violence. Yet she never wavered in her loyalty to her husband or her determination to protect her children. Fate, however, had other plans. In 1483, Edward IV, the love of her life, died suddenly. His death plunged England back into chaos and left Elizabeth vulnerable and grief-stricken. Her young son, Edward V, was declared king, but their reign would be tragically short-lived. Richard III, Edward VI's brother, seized the throne, declaring his nephew illegitimate and imprisoning both young princes in the Tower of London. Their disappearance remains one of the most enduring mysteries in English history. Elizabeth, robbed of her husband and separated from her sons, was forced to fight for their memory and her own survival.